It has been a while since I played an Assassin's Creed game. I believe I last played Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag back when I first got a PlayStation 4. So it seems fitting that one of the very first games I get on the PlayStation 5 is another Assassin's Creed game.
To England for Valhalla!
It is here where I jumped back into the world of Assassin's Creed with Assassin's Creed Valhalla. I was quite fond of the older games. I while I've skipped a lot more of the recent ones dating back to Unity, which I did try, but I didn't really like it. I kind of want to go back to it though, to see how it is. I'm back in Assassin's Creed, baby. So let's just find out how good or bad Assassin's Creed Valhalla is.
To England then, before the day is out. Pack what you need, but no more than that.
Typically, I don't go into spoilers. But there is some minor spoilers and a potential major spoiler here that I can't really get around, because if I didn't say them, there probably wouldn't be much to say in this game. This is your warning. In Assassin's Creed Valhalla, you play as Eivor Wolf-Kissed. You get to see how he/she got his/her name in the intro. He/her parents get killed, and then he/she is running away. A wolf comes and attacks his/her face. That is how she gets the name Wolf-Kissed. Now you would think that this would set up the whole game around this. And while it does have a really good tie-in with the story, and we'll get to that in a minute, the guy that kills him dies in the opening prologue. This opening could honestly not have been shown, and it really wouldn't have affected much of the game.
This is only a taste of things to come.
And that goes for a lot of things in this game. The main story here is disjointed. After a linear style prologue where you kill the guy that killed the parents, you then go to England, and this is where the real game begins. England is split up into different sections. The goal is to become allies with each section of England so you can settle down and worry about your little settlement. Each section has its own story with very little to do with one another. I guess this gets the job done, but it kind of feels like an episodic game because of this. I'm sure they could easily release a new section in DLC, and I don't really want to give Ubisoft ideas for that, but it would probably fit in perfectly. Eventually there is a conflict that makes all the sections that you have currently done come together, but even if you don't do them all, I feel like the sequence would probably be pretty similar. There is an exception to the storytelling though, and we will get there in a minute. With this style of storytelling, the characters really take a hit. There is a few good characters such as Sigurd, Eivor.
Leave all that aside, Eivor. Tonight we are family again.
King Aelfred, and Basham.
We are grateful to Sigurd for his invitation and eager to pay tribute to your king.
These four characters make up almost all of the twists and the turns within the main story. Sigurd is your king who goes through a big character change midway through the story. He also kind of disappears for most of it, but whatever.
You risk your life, Aelfred King.
I have invited you here to speak on equal terms. Do the Dane laws of hospitality not apply in Wessex?
And King Aelfred is very compelling. Without diving into spoilers, let's just say he isn't quite who he seems to be. And then there is Basham, who is one of the true assassins in this game. Yes, there's only 2 assassins in this whole game. Can you believe that? Hidden in plain sight they are. His story is best told through the best section of the game. Or at least, that's where everything kind of ties together to me. The best section of this whole game is an optional storytelling kind of thing here where you get transported to a new world. In order to get this optional story mission, you can only get it by leveling your settlement up. You unlock the Seer, and with this you get to drink a potion of sorts and take control over Havi, aka Odin, in Asgard. This is the single best part of the game. Here is where the story isn't disjointed. You learn that you, aka Odin, is going to die by a wolf, and your goal is to prevent that. Throughout this, you go through a journey. You have to follow the roads of Asgard, figure out what the Jotun are trying to do. They essentially rip out the stories of Norse mythology and make you play it. In the middle of this, you meet a wolf. The wolf ends up being Loki's son. and he is a problem for Odin. A dangerous wolf he can't kill, whose full purpose is to kill you. The characters in this section of the game are just excellent. Loki is always playing games and tricking you, and just downright being a pain in your neck the whole game. Tyr, who honestly I don't feel like he did very much, he is taking care of the wolf. And also there's Thor and Freya who show up. Honestly, they're not too important in the story, but they are there, which is kind of a cool little fan service thing. Thor is pretty much just awesome, but he's just never in the game. However, the best part of this ties back into the main characters in the real world. Well, the real animist world, sort of, I guess. These characters in Asgard represent Eivor's world to the point where they have the exact same voice actor. Remember how Eivor was wolf kissed? And Odin is paranoid over a wolf that he can't kill, really? Sort of. I guess he does fight him. It's a weird thing. I don't know Norse mythology that much, sorry. Well, Tyr and Sigurd are the same voice actor and both lose an arm. Eivor and Odin are the same voice actor and character model, even though they could have not done that and the devs were too lazy to actually add Odin's character model, because Odin is actually in the game. He shows up every time you assassinate somebody.
He speaks true. A man without an enemy defeats himself.
Throughout this whole game, you kind of see things that connect every single person I just mentioned to their god representative, almost thinking that there might be a descendant or something. But the real one here, the real shocker, is Bashim's voice actor, who is also Loki's voice actor. And that comes up big at the end of the game, I tell you what.
Loki,
Not me, friend. My name is Thok.
forgive me, I thought you were someone else.
Too much drink in too little time. The cure for that is sleep.
There is a secret scene in this game that indicates that these three main characters are in fact either descendants or are the gods themselves. Everything is just intertwined between the Asgard and the Eivor characters. It makes up one plot twist at the very end. Well, you can kind of see it coming once you realize that, oh, these characters are connected. The way they go through it is not how I thought it was going to happen at all. The ending in this game really threw me for a loop. Now that might be the most spoiler thing I've ever said in review, but whatever. I don't know where they go from here. I want to actually continue talking about this in a discussion thing, but I can't. I don't really have anybody to discuss it with. See, there is still some real world outside of the animist parts that show up, and although these sections are still of war, they only show up 3 times in the game, once at the beginning, in the middle, and once at the end, and the end got me thinking, oh my god, where are they going to go from here? For the first time since what feels like Assassin's Creed 3, at least according to many people on the internet, because I didn't play anything past 4, the main story actually advanced, and in a way where I don't know where they're going, and it kind of has me excited, though the story is a bit disjointed. But they do have some really intriguing elements to it. The gameplay, however, is pretty packed, and boy, it's fun. And while I do miss the days where Assassin's Creed meant, well, being an assassin, the combat in this game is fun of its own. The Viking style, let's be honest, it wasn't going to be stealthy anyway. The controls, while occasionally screw up, especially when you are climbing something, work pretty well for the most part, all things considered. Light and strong attack system seems pretty generic, and for the most part it is, but it is a lot of fun getting 2 axes in both your hands and going pop 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 to somebody. But by attacking you gain adrenaline, and when you get adrenaline you can do an ability. These can range from tackling, throwing axes, whips, a super slow-mo with infinite arrows, as long as you still have stamina. And the stamina system prevents you from being a little too overpowered. It's a pretty nice system, and even though it can get a little crazy towards the end, it's just a lot of fun. Although the bow and arrows in this game are a little too powerful, especially with the light bow that you can actually get for free through Uplay. Huh. Now, I do have a massive problem with the horse ride in this game. If you hold square, you can follow the road, and if you hit triangle while holding square, you're supposed to be able to go to your quest objective, or at least your waypoint. And the same goes for the ships. But for whatever reason, to me, my horse was dumb as a rock, and every time I hit that on a boat, I end up following the coastline, going the exact opposite way with the way I should be going. It happened with a horse as well. I did not like that. Don't know what's up with it, but the AI with that is a little screwy. There is tons, so much, a lot of content here. So much that I spent almost 70-ish hours playing it, and I am nowhere near 100% of the whole game. You got Templar targets, side missions, raids to upgrade your camp, camp missions in your camp, wealth to steal, collectibles to, well, collect, armor to find, slabs to collect, tattoos to unlock, secret boss witches to fight. They can only happen after you get so many slabs. Stones to stack, abandoned Vikings to recruit, curses to stop, parkour challenges, secret landmarks, mini games such as a new dice game which I actually fell in love with, and a drinking game that does come up here and there in some missions and the story. Whew, I'm sure I'm missing things, but there is a lot to do here. I did get enough to get the secret armor and weapon and get the secret scene, which you can only get after the game is over. I do have a problem with getting things after the end game because it's kind of redundant since, well, you can't use it on anything. But I was able to use my armor throughout pretty much the whole game, and when it comes to how well it ran, well, for the most part, it was pretty good. There was quite a lot of moments, however, where the game just either ignored my inputs or did something I didn't want it to do, some weird graphical bugs, but overall, I didn't really encounter anything game-breaking, just really frustrating. I did have a few interactions as well that soft-locked, but was simply fixed by either waiting a long time or completely restarting the game. And while that isn't good, it's a lot better than what I expected, and it's a lot better than the game I'm going to review after this. The presentation of this game is fantastic, man. You can switch to high quality graphical mode, which brings the FPS to 30, but it makes this game just look incredible. I switched back and forth between the 60 FPS and 30 FPS mode throughout the whole playthrough, and honestly, if you're the type of guy that wants to see higher quality, it's worth it. I do think the trailer was a bit misleading on how good the graphics were going to be, but as a whole, this is a great looking game on the PlayStation 5. I do think the character models at times, at least in the right lighting, look a little odd, but towns and such, they just look great, man. The sound design is fantastic, specifically the music. The voice acting is mostly good, and I do like hearing stories when I am on a ship, but there are some weird problems here and there, and a few scenes and a couple repeated dialogues. All things considered, your adventures as a Viking is pretty fun to listen to. And the world, oh my god, this is just absolutely gorgeous, especially in the snowy sections. I'm actually kind of disappointed that you aren't in the snow too much, only in the beginning and in the end of the game, but man, it is gorgeous when you are there. And same thing goes for when it's nighttime. For some reason, nighttime lighting looks fantastic, especially those scenes with when you assassinate somebody and it goes to that weird Assassin's Creed tell me your secrets kind of thing. That lighting in particular, fantastic, gorgeous, one of the best looking games I've ever played. Although I don't think it is the best looking game, I do think there's a game on PlayStation 4 that actually looks better, which, if that's disappointing to you, so be it. Probably the best looking Assassin's Creed game though. Overall, Assassin's Creed Valhalla was a pretty good surprise to me. I do think it's way too long at times, especially with its subpar story, but everything else makes up for it. I give Assassin's Creed Valhalla an 8.2 out of 10. Honestly, this game, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, has got me interested again in Assassin's Creed games. And I actually just picked up all of them the other day because they were all on sale. Probably won't do a review for them, but hey, they'll probably show up on the channel here eventually. Just be patient because our backlog's pretty massive at the moment. Feel free to watch my playthrough of this game. It should still be ongoing on the channel here. What did you think of Valhalla? You play it? Watch it? Leave your thoughts in the comments below.
Take your time getting settled.
Thank you for watching. Like the video if you haven't already. Subscribe for more content. Comment down below and check the description for links such as the Discord.